by doing this as opposed to just hiking by myself and having to worry about all this. But I do think it's going to be beneficial to people. All right, so going into technology. First of all, let me say that you have nothing to worry about. The world is a good place. There are people who want the best for us, and I think you do too. But technology can be a scary process. Things break, people get hurt, and there are those dying every day, often for no purpose or reason, living fruitless lives until an ultimate demise. Is this the fault of technology? Is this a grand design? In common parlance today, it is popular to blame tech giants or the rich or manipulative elites, but sadly, too often, the fault is not in our stars, but in ourselves, as Shakespeare might say. So that bit is about Shakespeare. The fault is not in our stars, but in ourselves. The temptation to blame someone else for our own mistakes is ever present, and bad things happen. Blaming new technologies for it, it's just not necessary, and it's not, oh my God, that's so cool. This is just so cool. It's just not a helpful, oh my God, it's so cool. Not a helpful view of things. Okay. Peter Thiel wrote a contrarian or prophetic short book titled 0 to 1. In it, he discusses the need for more technology and of the defense of monopolies. Inventing technology is 0 to 1, and expanding it to 1 to expanding it is 1 to infinity. Now, in common thinking, monopolies are bad. But let's question this. How long can a monopoly truly stand? 20 years? Forever? Some say that America has a monopoly on global trade via the US dollar. This came about post-World War II. And presumably no other superpower will rival it. But what about Bitcoin? Just some 60 years later, the American superpower control over currency has been challenged. But will Bitcoin become the new oppressor? And that is where this sort of thought process never ends. With each new innovation, early adopters are extraordinarily rewarded and latecomers punished, or rather users as opposed to benefactors. I, for example, contribute to YouTube and Reddit, but I don't get paid for it. They do. I am a user. Shareholders, employees, CEOs get paid by me because I contribute free labor for the luxury of using their platform. But could I have invented YouTube? Sure, perhaps. I mean, it would have been quite a challenge. But I could have invented Bitcoin or spaceships or electric cars. Yes, there is some financing involved, but ultimately imagination, lack of willingness to step out, express myself, these are the biggest hurdles. Benjamin Franklin wrote in The Way to Wealth, "Pray, Father Abraham, what think you of the times? Will not these heavy taxes quite ruin our country?" "Friends," said he, "the taxes are indeed very heavy. And if those laid on us by the government were the only ones we had to pay, we might more easily discharge them. We are taxed twice as much by our idleness, 3 times as much by our pride, and 4 times as much by our folly. And from these taxes, the commissioner cannot ease or deliver us by allowing an abatement." In classical sarcastic humor, Franklin states that the tax of government, or by the monopolist, pale in comparison to the tax we pay by not doing, learning, striving. Invention takes time. It takes money. It takes idleness, wellness, good health. Franklin is noted as the discoverer of electricity, but he also invented a practical stove, flippers, ocean current understandings, oil on water, organized rebellion, a spinning harmonica, and several other things. But before that, he invented a code of ethics, a compass to live by, his 13 virtues. And after that, he invented a professional club to make himself independent and to maximize money getting. And after that, the mafia type system where he sponsored several nephews in exchange for 50% of their profits. Okay, so that's a little bit about Franklin. I strongly recommend everybody read Benjamin Franklin's autobiography. I got a project I'm working on called Bitcoin1776.org, and if you want to try to help the community grow together, that's what this project is about, largely based on Franklin's ideals of how society should be run. And it's from these inventions from which he is most proud, for without these, nothing else would have been possible. First, he discovered how to lead a good life, get wealth, get his friends wealthy, get his family wealthy, and how to profit from their success as an equity owner. It was only after this, at the age of 40, that this poor son of a candle maker, with no inheritance to speak of, could retire and devote his life to his greatest achievements and legacies, starting a new nation, harnessing the power of electricity like a lightning rod to the advancement of a new worldly order. Yet in his mind, it was the discovery of the path to self-made wealth and societal wealth that was his greatest discovery. It is not that which you can do, but that which benefit others that marks achievement. And freeing countless souls by his teachings was worth more to him than all the electricity in the world, or that could come after. Nikola Tesla had a similar approach. In his invention of the electric motor and alternating currents, Albert Einstein, however, was a complete opposite. And thus it was that American inventors focused on practical applications, whereas European inventors focused on theory, with no observable use. For it was not supposed that uranium could be turned into a bomb or power at the time. It was merely a coincidence of scientific application. So the point I'm making here is that even though Franklin, we always associate him with lightning rod or the use of electricity and the flows of electricity and some other notable things he did, he himself was most proud of organizing his 13 virtues, which are like a miniaturized version of the 10 Commandments, perhaps, or like a summary of like lessons one might learn from a Bible. And then he got his Junto system, which is phenomenal, which builds societal wealth, and it's what we're about with Bitcoin 1776. And then he got this system where, like I mentioned before, he invested in children so that the children could earn lots of money at much, much, much younger ages, and then he profited from it. He was able to retire after he invested in 5 nephews and helped them to secure, I should have looked how to get back, and he helped them secure ways to wealth, which allowed him to retire at around the age of 40, and it's only in this retirement that he went on to make his most greatest lasting legacies, which were that of the revolution, electricity, and so forth, because he now had free time to contemplate and money to spend on his inventions. And so Tesla is kind of similar in this regard, where Franklin and Tesla focused on things that benefited people, whereas Einstein focused on things that what he might call mattered, like great scientific this is such a treacherous path. Great scientific so cool. South Clear, Obed, beautiful. Oh, that is so cool. All right, let me finish this so I can walk freely. Yeah, in his mind, the discovery of the path, the self-made wealth and societal application okay, all right, I read that. It should be noted, Einstein was a bit crazy. In his mind, the transient inventors of the car, for example, were trivial compared to the discovery of universal truths that would outlast millennia. Much like Newton, his work survived and would benefit man for eons, whereas even the great lasting accomplishments of the pyramids will one day fade. And thus it is with inventors. That is their legacy. What is their legacy? Some produce children, others great companies, others novel tinkerers, and others universal truths. What lasts? How much of your toil contributed or will benefit mankind for forever? What is your exponential return on labor? In terms of governance, Einstein referred to common people as dogs, who deserve the pity of masters. Without an overt racist context, the application came to be the same, that either you were an inventor or you were nothing. Tesla instead suggested that people were to be cherished and their lives made easier, more full. Thus one had the focus on practicality, whereas the other cared not if his discoveries benefited anyone, aside science. Einstein suggested the world should be ruled by 3 great men, with threat of instantaneous nuclear annihilation against all those who disobey. It is this sort of thinking that Franklin would have abhorred, and I challenge you to do likewise. Be useful, and don't separate yourself from society, no more than a passing of gas. Okay, so in that section, we're talking about Einstein's theory on how people should be treated. And his theory is that you're either born super smart or you're basically an idiot. And most people, like cows, as he might describe them, cows. And these cows need to just be pitied as opposed to empowered so that they could go on to do great things. Franklin and Nikola Tesla had a very different approach, which is with their great mind and energy, they always try to do things that freed people up so that those people could go on and subsequently do great things. It's not that Franklin wanted to show people the way to wealth so that they could spend their time getting drunk and just being lazy with all their free time. He wanted to show people how to get wealthy so that they could go on and make great inventions. And the inventions of, the inventions of thousands and thousands of others would presumably trump whatever inventions he was capable of doing. Let's get a little bit more perspective. This is such a fun place. We are in the fun zone. We are in the fun zone. There's a great river. I'm not sure if you can hear the current, but a great river just cascading all the while, letting you know where you are. Woo! This fantastic mountain. Okay. And so I got this project called Bitcoin 1776. It is inspired by Bitcoin and Benjamin Franklin, basically. And in this process, we organize ourselves into the Junto system that Benjamin Franklin devised. And we, within ourselves, we try to strive to meet his 13 virtues. That's more optional, but I will strongly push it at every instance because I think they're phenomenal. They make you into a better person, more liked, more productive, and just, good. So then with the 13 virtues, with the Junto system, we get everybody together and then we have like an election process. Oh my God. And in this election process, when we get into groups of 8 people, we nominate 2 people. Oh my gosh, it's a little scary. This is getting a little scary. I can't figure out what it was. We nominate 2 people between the groups of 8 to be kind of the leaders and to go on. They're not really the leaders of the group, more so that they go on to meet the next group. Okay, so this is the path, and I gotta focus here. Oh my gosh, treacherous. I should have a walking stick at this point, that's for darn sure. If you don't know, whenever you're on a steep cliff, get a walking stick. You're much less likely to fall. And if you do fall, you can throw that stick into the ground and claw your way back. Like if you're on an ice mountain or something. Okay, good deal. Got me a stick. I feel better. Okay, so you get into groups of 8, nominate 2 people, and then if there's 4 groups of 8, and they each nominate 2, then that's a new group of 8, 2 leaders from each of the 4, and then these people have a discussion, and they sort of share their ideas. Oh gosh, they sort of share their ideas and everything. It smells like mushrooms. they share their ideas and kind of help the spread of technology, the spread of information, of concepts, culture, and so forth, so that everybody's kind of stays on a similar path. And now with my system, you get paid for participation. So those who win get rewards, like money rewards. And then now if you get the money rewards, you could of course choose to share it with your original group, or you could probably keep it yourself, you know, whichever. And then but then eventually the main purpose of this thing is to get a hierarchical system where there's a whole bunch of people participating. And then when there's a whole bunch of people participating, we will write our Constitution, and our Constitution will be, so the US Constitution describes the form of government a little bit, the basic rights of man. Our Constitution will be more of self-governance. Like, what are some good activities that individuals should be doing in order to thrive, achieve? Jefferson referred to it as the pursuit of happiness. How do you pursue happiness? How do you achieve happiness? And so our Constitution is focused on how to achieve happiness individually and a little bit collectively, but it's more individual. And then the other thing we do is that the top 8 people decide this. And then the other thing they decide are, what are the greatest threats to mankind? What are the things that we should be worrying about? What are the things that are holding us back and hindering our development? So, like, in that regard, that's why I think world government or improved government is one of the things that we need at this time. There's a lot of dissatisfaction, but ignoring even the dissatisfaction of government, all the wasted time that is spent campaigning, arguing, the fights that are erupting, just going nowhere, is such a cost. It's such a cost to society. And so with the government that I propose and the payment systems that I direct, all the money for the government goes individually to these people. There is no central authority that has a budget. If you elect somebody as a representative, that person might get $100,000, whatever, and it's their responsibility to spend that $1,000 in an appropriate way. And if they misspend that money, then you would elect a different representative the next time. So in that way, there's no single source that people have to worry about. Every representative who's elected gets money, gets a share of the budget, and they're free to spend it however they please. And then, yeah, that's kind of the basics of it. And our money will be in like a blockchain type system, which I've already programmed, and you can download it, start mining it, get free coin. But that is the Bitcoin1776.org. That is our development, the one that I'm most advocating for. And if you'd like to join it, it would be wonderful. There's an email newsletter, and when we get enough people signed up, then we'll start up again. Whew. Frogs. This is I'm not sure if you can see it there. There you go. That is a cave frog, because we are in cave territory here, brothers and sisters. Okay. So that is the Bitcoin 1776 process. So if you like this talk, if you support it, just check out my little links and contribute to the Patreon or the PayPals. I got BTCPay set up. I got the works, brothers. Okay, so let's move on. Oh my God, this is exhausting, but a ton of fun. More fun. This is one of the most interesting hikes I've ever been on, frankly. South Clear, Obed, Middle Tennessee. About halfway, it's near Crossville, about halfway between Knoxville and Nashville. This is the most popular place to climb. I've never been here before because I was not a climber in my youth. And so there you are. Hopefully I got all the pages to this one. I feel like I'm missing something. All right, so this one is on art and culture.